Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another another video. Here I am talking about Venus again. So this is video number 3 so far on this Venus retrograde cycle. So I did one a little while back, just general Venus retrograde in Leo, one last week, which was 4 ways to work with Venus retrograde, a little bit more of a philosophical take on this cycle. And this week I'd like to talk about breakthroughs and turning points that you may be experiencing because of the square to Uranus and that Cazimi / conjunction with the sun. So there's a real shift or a tonal change with what Venus does this week. Before I break into that a little bit, I want to thank you for your lovely comments, as well as sharing some of your Venus retrograde stories in that previous video. Thank you for leaving a comment. That does help the channel grow a bit. Have to be honest, this channel for some reason is very much a slow grower. So I really do appreciate you taking the time to drop me a comment, liking and subscribing the channel as well. So this week, I'm calling this week Breakthroughs and Turning Points. And for 2 reasons. So firstly, we have that Venus square Uranus, and this is the second of 3. So this isn't new territory so much. Venus's entirety of her journey in Leo is involving this whole sign square to Uranus, who Uranus is looking at Venus to take its P's and Q's from, being in the sign of Taurus. So the first one happened July 3, the first exact square. Now we have the retrograde square this week, which is August 9. And then the third and final square between Venus and Uranus is going to happen September 29. But this is the one retrograde square. Now, does that make like a massive difference, direct or retrograde? Not so much. How I do see this is that things that you may have thought were resolved, things that you may have initiated the change around early July, things that got shaken up or maybe potentially a little bit volatile, or those things that were changing now need to be maybe changed again or reassessed in some way. Now, this is a square aspect. And a lot of people just sometimes default to squares as being bad or challenging, or because they're of the nature of Mars. And yes, on paper, they're not fortunate aspects. However, I like to challenge things. And so I do like to see the square as an opportunity, in the sense that when things feel tense, when things are not feeling great, like a free-flowing trine, it's like the idea of pain is a warning that something's wrong. If I've been sitting in my chair too long, I'll often be fidgeting and, moving around. That's making the adjustment. The square, my body's been in a tense position too long. I need to make an adjustment. The square aspect is that invitation to, when something's uncomfortable or something doesn't feel right or something isn't working right, what are you going to do to make that adjustment? And so it does remind me a little bit. Late last year, my son had to have some dental surgery done. And when his tooth was really sore, he's like, "Mom, why does it hurt so much?" And I said, "Mate, what would it be like if your body didn't experience pain? We wouldn't know that there was anything wrong." And so sometimes squares are that blessing in disguise, because when we have that opportunity to make that adjustment, to experience the tension or the discomfort, then we have the opportunity to change things, to improve things, and to make things better. And I think change is the operative word here, because we are also dealing with Uranus, and we're also dealing with a fixed square. So that's the challenge, isn't it? Is to fix something that might otherwise be a little bit set in stone, regular, something that is, just a sort of a permanent feature of whatever house topics this is for you. Now, Venus, just in of her own significations, does represent the idea of beauty and relationship and all those treats and trinkets that make being human fun. And so we all have our likes, we all have our preferences, whether that is dietary, the way we present ourselves, the way that we dress. I mean, I have Venus in a fixed sign. I've been wearing Metallica t-shirts for 30 years. So, I don't change too much. I still have the teenage fashion sense, even though I'm in my mid 40s now. But anyway, Uranus is the challenge to change. And so you might have this realization that some changes you initiated back in July might need further readjustment, further tweaks, or, going back to the drawing board and taking that experimental approach. And that's what Uranus does. It's like, okay, well, we tried this, it didn't work. Now we might need to try something else. And that doesn't come easy when it's a square, and it doesn't come easy when it's fixed signs. So when we can get these new realizations, we can then make the adjustments, and new desires may emerge, which will potentially provide solutions to those problems. It's almost like, if you don't experience that pain point, you don't know what the medicine is that's going to help you make that change or make that improvement. And of course, this could be, representative of many various areas of life. Your key areas to focus on is your Leo house and, of course, your Taurus house. And when you can sit in that little bit of discomfort, that's when that breakthrough can happen. And when that breakthrough happens, sometimes then there's more adjustment that has to take place, right? So that breakthrough or that adjustment might mean, hey, a relationship isn't working. Maybe it could be, we tried this since July. We might need to try something different. Now, this could pertain to your daily routines and rituals. This could pertain to a job thing. This could be the way that you're working with your finances, or it could involve your relationship with your children. Again, looking to that Leo house is going to be that point in your life that is really up for that reassessing and renewal and that invitation to change. And so it is an experimental process when we're looking with to Uranus, especially in Taurus, who is very change reluctant. I think I've been saying this, in the lead up, all through 2017 and 2018 when Uranus first went into Taurus. It's not like you can just change one thing and then everything's done and dusted and dandy. It's like going up to the buffet and sort of saying, well, I'm going to try this and I'm going to try that, and then, nibble on this and nibble on that, and then go back and say, yeah, I like this, but I don't like that. And so that's a little bit what this Venus retrograde phase is inviting us to do, is being a little bit more experimental, but still staying true to what is right for you at the same time. So those realizations when some change needs to happen is maybe to take a risk or to take that first step. Maybe you have been ignoring the prompts to change. Maybe you've been actively resisting taking the change that that the heart wants. And the problem with change, it doesn't happen until you make the change. I mean, how many times have you either been guilty of this yourself, or you've heard somebody, someone like a friend or a family member, that whinge, that something's not changing the way that they want it to change, but refusing to change themselves. So this is really the invitation this week, is to get right back into that heart center and ask yourself, am I actually satisfied with this? Is this really floating my boat? Yes, great. We'll continue on. If not, then it doesn't mean it has to be baby and bathwater. It could be, maybe if I just tweak that or adjust this, then I might get that outcome or result that I'm looking for. And I think this is really possible this week, because just as Venus sort of comes off that square with Uranus, she's going to conjoin the sun. So what happens astronomically in this sort of feature is that Venus is in the sort of proverbial underworld in her retrograde cycle, and then she conjoins the sun. And any planet conjoined the sun is known as Cazimi. So that is when the planet is in that exact same degree of the sun. And of course, there are some variations, whether it's minutes or degree type of thing, but I won't go into that here. I do have a video, the meaning of Cazimi. It's in relationship to Mercury though, but the same sort of idea applies to the majority of planets, and Venus would be one. So Venus conjoins with the sun, and then what happens is, as they switch places, and then Venus will slowly emerge back. So she's been diving into the underworld since July 23. Then on August 13, she trades places, she confuses with the sun, trades places with it, and then starts to move in the other direction and rising towards the east. So she's climbing out of this retrograde. But what this conjunction with the sun is that purification. It's that purging and that renewal. So this is the sun burning off all of that old dross, all of that waste of Venus, all the old habits. Maybe it's the old attitudes. Maybe it's the old desires, the old ways of being. Could be the old values that you're carrying, and you realize, oh my God, why am I even thinking or believing in this anymore? And so as Venus fuses with the sun, she's empowered. One way I describe the Cazimi is, if you've been using your mobile phone all day and the battery has got minimal power left, and the phone sort of shuts down a bit, you don't really get the notifications, it has minimal functionality, and the screen sort of like the light is a bit dim. And then as soon as you put that charger in, and it becomes reanimated. And that's what happens to a planet when it conjoins the sun. But just like your phone, it doesn't mean you can sort of instantly start using it. You need to give it a little bit of a charge up to restore its power. And so that's what Venus is going to be doing over the next little while, until she emerges out of those sun's rays, which will be about August 23, 24, I think. So she will still be under the rays of the sun for a little while longer. So she will be in that recovery period after the recharge. And so this is, as I said, it's that rebirth, that renewal. She is emerging now in her warrior woman status. And so as she's been, she's moving into that fiery inferno of the sun this week. She's connecting with the heart of the sun. This is a great week for you to get purely honest with yourself. And that's one thing that Uranus also brings. It is very authentic. It wants to be liberated. And if you are trapped in something that isn't feeling authentic, that doesn't resonate with the heart, if it doesn't heal the heart in a way that makes you radiate your best light, then maybe you need to sort of put that middle finger up, proverbial middle finger up to that situation. I was actually thinking about this and thinking, was there a time in my life where I just did something kind of crazy, rebellious and authentic, but maybe not so wise? And when I say wise, it was a different kind of wisdom. It was the wisdom of the heart as opposed to wisdom of cunning strategy, if you like. I was pretty young and I was working in this particular business, and the lady that owned it, she just sort of dumped all her stuff on me, and then everything that was going wrong in her personal life was blamed on me, and that I wasn't doing my job properly. And I'm kind of, hang on a minute, lady. And she just really berated me in the staff room, and I was like, I don't need this. And I just literally grabbed my handbag and said, you can shove this job up your ass. And then I walked out. And I was like, one of the most, it's like a movie, you know, one of those empowering scenes of kind of reclaiming my sovereignty and this ill treatment that I was experiencing. And then I had to call my partner at the time, and yeah, that's what I've done. And I'm not saying that you need to go and do something, you know, reckless in a sense, but this week is about reclaiming something honest, reclaiming something that's really pure and true to the heart. And that might mean having to tell someone, I'm out. That could be out of the job, out of a relationship. Maybe this is getting in touch with desire and what you really want. Or in some instances, recognizing what you don't and still maybe exploring a little bit more of what you do. Now, like any type of purification or renewal, like Venus is doing this week. So if you personally go on some kind of detox or cleanse or anything that's kind of a process of betterment or improvement, sometimes you actually feel worse before you get better. You know, I felt worse before I got better in that particular situation. I mean, I've done many a detox and various things in my life. You know, I've started back up the gym. If anyone's asking, wondering, I got a few comments about that in the last video. Yes, I have. And yes, I am feeling a little bit sore and sorry for myself, but I know it will get better. And sometimes that's why we avoid change in the first place, right? Because we want to resist the pain of change. Humans historically are not good with change because we know it comes with a level of discomfort. So just know if you do have to make a real honest, authentic, or right for you choice this week, sometimes you actually have to feel a little bit worse before you get better. And that is, and believe me, Venus is going to get better when she rises in the eastern horizon and becomes visible again. She will be making an aspect to Jupiter. So there are good things along the way. So if you are finding yourself a little bit fearful of change, a little bit, oh, I know in my heart of hearts, I really need to take this path, but I fear the outcome, or I fear the changes I might need to implement in my life, just know that there is a beautiful blessing for Venus when she rises in the eastern horizon in just a few weeks' time. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that that's given you some insight or some, you know, astrological intel to help you inform some choices or decisions that you might be grappling with. And of course, if you like the video, please subscribe to this channel. And if you would like to have more astrological insight, yes, I'm available for readings. And if you would like to also consider my membership, the Golden Circle Club, where I do share these sorts of videos, obviously a lot more in depth with all of the aspects that are in play each and every month. So there's a lot on offer in that club if you're interested in being a part of the Golden Circle. So until next time, I hope you have a really great Venus breakthrough and solutions week.